I'm going to go out there and you're going to see the boogeyman. You're going to see him break. You're going to see him break in there. And then realize there's only one boogeyman, and that's me.
We're looking at what is shaping up to be a massive fight. UFC 319, Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. And look, this isn't just a standard championship fight. This feels more fundamental. It's like two completely different martial arts philosophies are about to collide head-on. A real unstoppable force meets an immovable object kind of vibe. Let me try to break down the fight. First, the champ, Dricus Du Plessis. His style, it's not what you'd call conventional. To the casual eye, it looks a little herky-jerky, maybe even awkward. Unpredictable is the word you hear constantly. Adesanya famously called him the best shit fighter in the world, which is a perfect backhanded compliment.
Look, he's so good at what he does, no matter what. And I've said, what did I say before? He's the best shit fighter in the world.
It sounds like an insult, but you can feel the grudging respect. You know, what looks like pure chaos is arguably a purpose-built system. It feels specifically designed to break down highly technical fighters. He's constantly changing his timing, his cadence. 1 second it's a normal combo, then suddenly he'll launch this weird, like, falling forward blitz that completely throws off an opponent's rhythm.
He does the craziest shit and somehow he lands, or somehow he'll miss a punch and somehow he'll take down.
He's stubborn, man.
They can't get a read on him. They can't time him. It just disrupts their entire game plan. And that constant disruption makes them vulnerable to his power shots, even if those shots don't look technically perfect on the way in. And it's how seamlessly this connects to his grappling that's key. Those forward blitzes we talked about, they force a choice. You either have to back up and risk eating one of those wild looping shots, or you stand your ground, plant your feet, and risk getting driven straight to the mat with one of his powerful double leg takedowns. The striking sets up the grappling threat. It creates this constant, unsolvable dilemma for his opponents, and that integrated threat is really the heart of his entire system. Now, there were serious questions about DDP's gas tank early on, weren't there? It was seen as his biggest weakness, but that seems to have completely flipped. The critical moment was in April 2023 when he had surgery to fix a severe breathing issue in his nose. His coach claimed he was fighting with something like only 8% oxygen intake before that. After the surgery, it was a complete transformation. His cardio is now arguably his single most dangerous weapon. We've seen it play out. He's gone deep in 3 straight 5-round title fights against the elite, and in those later rounds, his output often increases. The stats back that up. His average fight time is 13 minutes and 45 seconds. That number alone tells you he is completely comfortable in long, drawn-out battles. And coupled with that insane engine is his durability, his chin. It's incredible. He has eaten clean shots from powerful strikers and just walked right through them. So it's not just toughness, it's strategic. He can accept taking some damage because it's the cost of imposing his high-pressure, high-pace fight. His chin allows him to do that. And despite the chaotic look, he shows real fight IQ, making smart adjustments mid-fight. Okay, now let's talk about Khamzat Chimaev. His whole game is forged in wrestling, and his UFC arrival was, well, historic, with record-breaking wins that put everyone on notice. He's a perfect 14-0, with wins over guys like Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, and a first-round submission over former champ Robert Whittaker. The talent is undeniable. Which leads us to his style. He sums it up himself, right? Smesh. It's this doctrine of just overwhelming, suffocating pressure, all built on that world-class wrestling base. If he defend that first shot, he just chain wrestles seamlessly into body locks, trips, and powerful lifts. You see the comparisons to Khabib Nurmagomedov for a reason. And once it hits the ground, that's when the smesh really begins. His top control is just stellar. It's active. It's draining. He uses sophisticated stuff like wrist rides. He uses leg rides too. He just makes his opponents carry his full weight while he stays relatively fresh. It's other. Okay, but what about his striking? It's not technically beautiful. It can look a bit crude, but man, does it have catastrophic power. It's that right hand. It has serious one-punch knockout potential. We saw it with the Gerald Meerschaert KO. We saw him drop Gilbert Burns with it. It's a legitimate weapon, but the technique itself has holes, big time. The punches can be a bit slow, a bit telegraphed. There's not a lot of defensive head movement. And that official UFC striking defense stat, it's alarming. 41%. That is really, really low. It means that nearly 6 out of every 10 significant strikes thrown at him land. That's a glaring weakness on paper. So his striking is mainly just a setup for the grappling. He uses it to close distance and create those takedown chances. A long kickboxing match is his worst case scenario. And that brings us right to the biggest question mark hanging over Chimaev, the 5-round question. It's the single greatest unknown. Can he perform over 25 championship minutes?
If you're in Khamzat Chimaev's camp, how are you going to train Khamzat Chimaev to beat DDP?
Cardio.
I'm
going to make him a fitness freak because he's good. He's strong. His grappling's better. He's got good technical striking. I just don't think he has the gas tank to, if he doesn't finish DDP, to win the fight.
His whole game is built on a sprinter's pace, a furious all-out attack looking for a quick finish. His average fight time is just 6 minutes and 5 seconds. That's incredibly short. So naturally, people wonder about his gas tank, and there's evidence to support those concerns. The 2 fights that he's reached the 3rd round against Burns and Usman, he noticeably slowed down. He looked more human. He started moving away from the relentless wrestling and began to stand and trade more. Add to that a past severe bout with COVID that almost forced his retirement, and the questions about his long-term cardio are very real.
When I breathe, I feel a pain in my chest, like it's here. Like told my coach, I feel bad.
This fight against DDP is the ultimate examination of that gas tank. Okay, so let's crunch the most critical numbers. The data really highlights the core strategic battle here. The biggest contrast is average fight time. Chimaev at 6:05 versus Du Plessis at 13:45. That's more than double. Sprinter versus marathon runner. Then striking defense. Chimaev's is very low, 41%, while Du Plessis is at a more respectable 54%. This suggests Chimaev is far more hittable in a stand-up exchange, which plays right into DDP's high-volume style. And then the grappling stats. This is where it looks lopsided on paper. Chimaev has a perfect 100% takedown defense. His takedown average is elite. Meanwhile, Du Plessis' takedown defense is just 50%. Statistically, that 50% looks like a catastrophic mismatch, a clear path for Chimaev if he can implement his wrestling. So how does this translate into strategy? On the feet, it's chaos versus calculated power. For DDP, the strategy has to be constant forward pressure. Use that awkward rhythm to deny Chimaev space. Make it ugly. Exploit that 41% striking defense and turn it into a messy high-volume fight where Dricus's chin and cardio can overwhelm Chimaev. For Chimaev, discipline is key. He cannot get sucked into a brawl. He has to use his power as a deterrent to set up the takedowns. Now the grappling, this is the decisive question. Can Chimaev's smesh style dominate? That 50% takedown defense for DDP is a screaming target. If Khamzat gets early takedowns and establishes top control, it could be a quick night. But Du Plessis' counter strategy isn't just about stopping every takedown. That's probably not realistic. It's about making every single attempt incredibly costly for Chimaev's gas tank. Du Plessis is physically very strong. He has to use that strength and his non-stop scrambling to make it an absolute dogfight, force him to expend enormous energy for every inch of control. The goal is to survive, scramble up, make him work, and drain that tank. And let's not forget, Dricus has legitimate submission skills himself. If Chimaev gets tired, he can capitalize. If the fight gets to rounds 3, 4, and 5, everything seems to shift towards the champion. That transition from round 2 into round 3 is the critical moment. That's where we've seen Chimaev fade before. If Du Plessis is still standing and still pressuring, his advantages take over. The proven 5-round cardio, the experience, he'll just pour it on and hunt for a late TKO or win a clear decision. For Chimaev, it's completely uncharted territory. And quickly, the intangibles. There's immense pressure on Chimaev as the undefeated favorite in his first 5-round title fight. Du Plessis is a battle-hardened champion who is used to being the underdog. Mentally, the edge might go to the champ. Also, Chimaev has had gaps in activity due to health issues, whereas Du Plessis has been consistent and is battle-tested. That favors the champ as well. All right, final analysis. It really feels like there are 2 very clear paths to victory, depending on who imposes their will early. Scenario 1, the mauling. Chimaev by early finish. He comes out exploits that 50% takedown defense, gets DDP down, establishes that crushing top control, and finishes with ground and pound or a submission, probably within the first 2 rounds. That's the path the betting odds favor. Scenario 2, the long war. DDP by late finish or decision. This is where the champ's core strengths, durability, cardio, raw strength, come into play. He survives the initial storm. He makes the grappling exhausting for Chimaev. Chimaev starts to fade entering round 3, and then the fight completely flips. Du Plessis, with his better engine, just takes over with relentless pressure and overwhelms a tiring Chimaev for a TKO in round 4 or 5, or just dominates for a clear decision win. Look, Chimaev is the favorite for a reason. The potential for that quick, violent finish is very real. But if you look deeper at the styles and the stats, the 25-minute factor is key. Du Plessis' whole system, however awkward it looks, seems almost perfectly engineered to win a war of attrition, which is exactly where Chimaev has looked vulnerable. You can frame it as a race against time for Chimaev. He probably has a window of about 10 to 12 minutes to get that finish before the energy cost of fighting a guy like DDP really starts to drain his battery. So my final thought is this. If Dricus can weather that early storm, if he can survive those first 2 rounds and make Chimaev work extremely hard, the momentum should shift irrevocably. His durability, his pace, and his championship experience will likely become the deciding factors, and that points toward him retaining his title, most likely with a win in the later rounds.